Okay, folks, welcome back to Fat Cat Collection. Got another Duxot watch for you today, or as some folks have commented on the channel, Duxot, potato, right? Folks, when I do a video, unless the company specifically reaches out, like Nubeo, in the beginning, and other YouTubers too, will call the brand Nubio. It's actually Nubeo. So I've been calling Duxot for quite some time. And remember, depending on what country you live in, these words, these brands may be pronounced differently, right? So just take it with a grain of salt and enjoy the friggin' video, right? So what do we got today? So today we got one of their newer releases. I'm wearing it right now. Really dig this watch. And you might be saying, you know, that's kind of a Submariner homage. And this one sort of is, right? So this one is their Atlantica Deep Dive. And so I've reviewed many Atlanticas on this channel. The main difference that I can tell with this one is that the depth rating is higher and the build is just beefier, right? So let me take it off and show you what we get. And I'll show you some close-ups here after I show you some close-ups with me talking about it, right? So check it out. So this one here is done in the kind of navy blue. And it's really hard to tell on camera, but I'll throw a couple pictures up here, but it is a very slight gradient from like a deep navy blue down to black. It is available in a green, a red, a brown, and of course this color. You know, it's nothing really like we've seen a lot of this before, right? It's another homage, but what I like about it, it just has a little bit bigger vibe to it. And again, I go back and forth, right? I always wear big watches, small watches. There's a limit to what I'll wear. And don't get me wrong, if I got a watch that was like 30 millimeter, I'd probably wear it. But really the smallest watch I typically tend to wear is about 40 millimeter. And that's really, there's not many watches I have in my collection that are that small. I do have some 38s, but I do prefer a watch of this size. And this is a great looking piece. My dad checked this out. He digs it. You know, Duxot, the quality of these watches is exceptional. And if you compare, let me try to give this kind of a comparison. If you compare this watch with a Pro Diver, the Pro Diver is a heck of a value. It's really almost one of the most untouchable values out there. I would say the quality of this is nicer than a Pro Diver. If you were to compare this to even a Pagani design, I'd say there's a little bit of a step up here just in the build quality, but it's very slight when compared to Pagani. What makes this watch just a little bit feel like it's a little bit more higher quality is just the fact that it's chunkier, right? So let's check out some side shots here. So we have a really large extended case back, and you're going to see a lot of these. Invicta will even do this too on their Pro Divers because they're using the NH35 in this. The NH35 is kind of a thicker movement, so it definitely takes up more space, which I personally like because it just gives the watch a little bit more of a wrist presence. You do have that helium escape valve. You're not going to find that on a Pro Diver, at least that I'm aware of. Maybe there's certain models. This does have a day of the month, but it does not have a Cyclops, which in all honesty, I kind of prefer. I guess if you have really bad eyes, you need glasses, then maybe the Cyclops is super important to you. But for me, I can see that just fine from 2 feet away. You know, of course, it's not set to the right date, but it's awesome. Nice coin edge. I call this kind of like a dime coin-edged bezel. Very nice grip on it, considering it's a standard small bezel. Sometimes, like if I try to turn the bezel on, for instance, my scalloped Grand Diver, very difficult to turn. Although I don't really use the bezel. I did use it at times in my life when I would take a break and was timed down, you know, pretty strict about that, right? But the bezel action on this is quite incredible. I mean, I don't see this getting much better. There is zero back play. It's smooth. It clicks into each mark with precision. You know, some folks, I've said it before, will say, you know, the sound of the bezel matters. It really doesn't. It's just how they engineered it. But this does have a really nice bezel. And what they've done here on these kind of coin edge grooves, sometimes these can be kind of like smooth. This is actually a little bit, and when I say sharp, I don't mean like, ow, you know, I mean, like, it's just, it kind of binds to your finger a little bit, right? You know, when you picked up like an old, if you work out, you picked up like an old beat up bar, it's been around since the 70s, and the knurling is kind of worn off, but it still has it, you still get grip, but not like a brand new fresh bar where it actually really takes a bite into your finger. This works fantastic. Finishing, amazing on it. They don't have any kind of push button deploy and clasp on this, just a standard, you know, I call this like your standard homage to a Rolex Submariner clasp. But I will state this one here, it doesn't really have a lot of Like this one doesn't really click with authority. I will state that it's a very light click, but you do have the safety clasp as well to lock that down. When you compare this to like some of the Paganis that I have, I mean, those things lock so hard, you almost have to get like a plastic screwdriver to pop it off your wrist, or you can use your nail. So this one here, I'd say, is a little bit light compared to most of the Duxots that I have reviewed, but it's not like it's gonna fall off your wrist. I probably just got one that's just a little bit, I don't know, just a little bit light on the way that it clips. I know, honestly, that to me, it definitely locks into position, right? But it's definitely one of the lightest ones that I've ever had by Duxot. So it might just be this specific one. Maybe I got one that's a little, you know, maybe I don't want to say bad one. Maybe it's just the way this one was produced. Something happened, not sure. But it's not going to fall off your wrist. This does have friction pins, no screws. That's, to some folks, that's a big deal. To me, I could care less. It does look like that there is there on this here? I don't, actually, you know what? I'm wrong on this. I always want to say these have micro adjustments, but they do have divots on the inside, which I could be incorrect on this, but let me just show you folks. On the inside of the clasp, let's see if I can get it to focus here. There is some small divots, which I would think were adjustments, but I feel like I've tried to move the band around before with some of these adjustments, and once you do that, it doesn't close. Because I think you'd be moving, I'm not sure on that. I'll have to give that a try. So not sure, no standard micro adjustments on this, but it's a fantastic watch, very minimal Duxot logo on the side. I mean, super minimal. It does say Duxot Ocean Dive Atlantica, 3,300 meters of water. Is that meters? No, it's, sorry, feet of water resistance. As I just said, I don't need a Cyclops. So anyway, yeah. So heavier depth rating than the standard Atlantica. A little bit beefier build. It's an awesome looking watch. Specifications on it. Again, you do get that helium release valve. You do have that NH35 movement. Of course, when you look at, and this is what I wanted to state here when it comes to Duxot and a lot of the Dartmouth brands, they'll put the specifications, but here's a perfect example. They state Japanese automatic 3 hands with date, right? They don't actually list the movement, and they do this on a lot of their watches. However, when we go to the description, they do specifically list that it's an NH35. And that's great. You know, you don't have to put it exactly under specifications, but I think they started doing this after I keep harping on them about it. So when they come out with a new release, I noticed they don't always update the older models or the ones that have been out for a while, but they have been putting this information on the newer generations and new releases. So I'm really glad they're doing that because that's super important to the watch collector, right? And I'm not going to read you the whole spiel here, but it does have, again, that 100 ATMs or 3,300 feet of water resistance, a reliable NH35. That is an automatic movement if you're new to watch collecting. And it's a true diver, they state. It's got that gradient color dial with enamel finishing. It's an exclusive timepiece for both desk divers and aquatic enthusiasts. I like the way they describe that, desk divers. That's kind of what I am, right? I wear a dive watch, but I'm not doing any diving. I'm just doing a little hot soaking in the tub. 2-year warranty on this if you buy it directly from them. And the case size, here's the specification, 17 in the thickness. So it's a beefier, thicker case. You know, if you are a guy who has a lot of the smaller size watches, this might be a good stepping stone if you want something a little bit bigger. 44 millimeter case diameter, stepping up. 42 is kind of like your standard. 44, kicking it up a notch. 52 millimeters lug to lug. It does have Japanese super lume. It does have a sapphire crystal. It does have a screwed-on crown and a 22 millimeter stainless steel buckle. And 240 grams of weight, and it does come with a blue FKM, rubber strap. So nothing really too much else to say about it. It's a great looking piece. I like the blue. You know, I chose this because I don't really have a lot of, I didn't have anything quite like this. Generally, when I try to choose a color from any of these brands I work with, I try to choose something, if the watch isn't really, you know, over-the-top new creation, like this is, we've seen these before, right? Kind of standard. Then I try to just pick a color that's a little bit different. I kind of like the red, too. I just thought the black and blue, I don't know. It's just, it's a real subtle, it's a really nice look. And I definitely dig this one. I've been wearing this one for about 5 days now, which is kind of long for me to be wearing a specific watch, but I dig it. It's a nice piece, and really, you know, the quality, it's just there. I mean, you really can't go wrong with this watch. Every single person that has taken my advice and bought a Duxot, keep in mind, coupon code in the description with the link. They've been very happy with it. Now let's talk about price point, because Duxot, all the Dartmouth brands, actually most watches on earth do the same thing when it comes to pricing. They list it for $900. It's 40% off, $540 right now on sale. You might be saying, hey, $540, that's a little steep for an H35 movement. I'd agree with you on that. When you can get a Pro Diver, although this is nicer than the Pro Diver, but when you look at the price of that, you can get a Pro Diver for like $70 during the holidays. So it's not going to be this size. I think the guy who's going to buy this is going to... This is leaning more towards like your Oceaniva quality. It really is. Although I wouldn't say it's on par with Oceaniva, but the differences are really hard for me to even describe. They both are incredible watches, and I think that this definitely gives you a nice value. Now, again, nothing with Duxot. They have a 50% off sale going. So I don't know if that's... This is kind of weird because it says 40% off and then it says 50% off sale. So I don't know if that's... I assume that is the sale. I don't think you're going to get this cheaper here, which is a little bit confusing. Let me go to the main page and just see what they state on this. Halloween sale. That might be on specific models. Yeah, so here's like... Yeah, I think this is just... Yeah, you guys just got it. This is only specific models. So you just have to kind of take pricing with a grain of salt. These watches I see range in price. If you're lucky enough to pick these up, remember, this has kind of always been my argument with a lot of watch companies. Even Oceaniva, which you guys know I totally dig, and all the brands I like. But one of my big gripes is usually at least what Oceaniva does. This is a perfect example from a company that I really respect. And again, these two, but this is what I don't like, right? I don't like when companies constantly put their watches on sale. Oceaniva, for the most part, will do a release, and that watch is on a special release right when it comes out. Once that watch is sold out, it is gone, right? Once that watch is off that sale price, that price is gone. It's never coming back. So they build a hype around a new release watch and allow people to get their hands on it. If you snooze, you lose. If you don't get it, you're going to pay more. What I like about that is, if I see a watch I like and I see it on sale and I didn't get it, then I'm like, all right, I still like the watch. I could have got a better deal. I just didn't, but I still got a fair deal on it. With some of these, this watch is a $540 right now, normally $900, $540. You might see this go on sale. Like right now they have the Henry, I think it's a Henry automatic diver. It's kind of like a Omega style watch. That watch is $149 right now, which is incredible. That watch is an awesome build, an amazing value. So this watch, $540, you're probably going to see this go on sale. And the sales, though, aren't like one-time things. They're going to put the watch on sale. Then next thing you know, a month later, it's going to be up again. Then 2 weeks later, it's going to be on sale again. So this flipping and flopping, this back and forth is quite annoying, in my opinion, for most shoppers. And I think all watch brands need to just kind of be consistent with their pricing and do sales where people are like, man, this is like, even if it's like the once a year sale, around Christmas, great, we're going to get it for $149, blow these watches out the door. Then after that, you got to wait. I'm not saying don't put the watches on a slight sale, but this constantly on sale, this is something that hurt Invicta. And to this day, as much as I like Invicta, I feel like this is something that totally hurt their brand. The watches are constantly on sale. They're $5,000 watches for $200. I'm not saying all of them. That you have to just kind of look at each specific model. Supply and demand all factor into that. If for instance, if you see Duxot's watches like this model flying off the shelf at $540 and they end up having a couple left, they're probably not going to put it on sale. If you see a watch that they produce and a watch is some selling for $540, the next thing you know they sell for $200 and they still don't sell them, you're probably going to see the price remain lower. Supply and demand, companies want to maximize profit. Be a smart shopper, get them for the best deal, but I understand the frustration with this flip and flopping pricing. I think it is annoying. But nevertheless, that doesn't change the fact that these companies are making fantastic watches. Many brand watches are amazing, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to get an incredible watch on your wrist. So let's check it out on the wrist. So I got a 7-inch wrist. I weigh about 183 pounds. I'm 5'8". This is what this bad boy looks like on me. 44 millimeter, fantastic size. Definitely a watch for the guy who maybe doesn't want anything too large, doesn't want the 50 millimeter, but it's a really nice spot to kind of get a slightly larger watch on your wrist without, without going into the real oversized stuff. Great looking piece. Great looking piece, great quality, guarantee. You pick one of these up, you're gonna love it. If you're in the market for, when it comes to homage watches to a Submariner, and I don't know if necessarily this is what that is, but again, I had this argument with a guy the other day about Richard Mille, and he's like, oh, it's a Tanu case copy, another Richard Mille copy, and like that was about one of the Nubeo watches. I was like, dude, Richard Mille doesn't even make one that looks like this. Like, this is not a copy. This is its own thing. Just because a company uses a specific case style, round, Tanu square, doesn't mean you just take the most expensive watch out there that it kind of has similarities to and then claim it's a copy or a homage, right? Every round watch on Earth is not a Rolex Submariner homage. However, this one, I honestly would say that this is kind of leaning that direction, but remember, there were watches before Rolex, so we could always say, some say the Rolex is a homage to a 50 Fathom. So again, just don't get all into that nonsense. Just buy what you like, buy what makes you happy, buy what you're going to wear with confidence and feel good about, and ultimately buy what's going to make you happy. So thanks for watching, folks. Have a fantastic day, and take care.